Hello, Marysville Christian Church family. It's been a long time since we've been able to get together for an on-site worship service, but there's been a lot of stuff that's happened that I think required that to happen. We wanted to kind of get together in a question-answer format and list some questions that we thought you might have and try to answer them in as honest a way as we could, kind of as it happened during the last couple months. We are pretty confident right now that everything's going to be as safe as possible. We're going to follow all the protocols, and if you're really wanting to come back to an on-site worship service, we feel you'll be very safe, and we'd be happy to have you. But then we'll say this several times throughout this whole question answer. If for any reason you feel doubtful and you'd like to stay home, please feel free to stay home and continue the online worship service. That's what it's there for in times like this. Another thing that we kind of wanted to say that hopefully will kind of come out throughout this question and answer is just how thankful we are that we've been able to get through this in the fashion that we have. The finances have been really just unbelievable blessed. We didn't really have to feel like we had to make a lot of appeals, that we had to have people to donate, because the donation just kind of kept coming in, and we really are thankful for that. We're thankful for the security team that as we met each Sunday morning from 10 to noon, just to make sure that if there were any special needs that the congregation had throughout the week, the security team always supported us. They opened up the church for us. They made sure that all the contact surfaces were regular cleaned. So really wanted to thank the security team for that. And likewise to our staff, the online service I think has really went well. We appreciate David and Ed and Alex and all they brought to, and Angie as well, for all the hard work they did for the online service. Okay, the first question is, when will MCC reopen for on-site worship?
According to paragraph 4 of Governor DeWine's latest Stay Safe Ohio orders, regardless of what phase of reopening we're in, religious gatherings are permitted and not subject to the limitations of 10 or 50 people. Churches are, however, encouraged to implement safe distancing measures along with reducing maximum capacity by 50% of the local fire code standards. We're ready to open this Sunday, May 17th, and we're really excited to be together again.
Brian, let me add a little bit to that with the limitations of 10 or 50. As Brian mentioned, we're not, as a religious gathering, limited to that gatherings of 10 or gatherings of 50. Instead, what we've done, though, is to space out our chairs in between. So in the main room here, the CLC, we've got seating for about 120. Up in the mezzanine up above, we have about 25 or so chairs up there. Over in the chapel, we have seating for about 30 or so. And then up in the teen room, we have seating for around 20. So all told, we can handle right at 200 people and still be safely spaced between our seats and chairs.
The next question is, what precautions has MCC taken to minimize the risk of infection?
Some of the things that we've done to minimize the risk of infection is just this. We'll of course have greeters at the doors to open the door for you. Honestly, you shouldn't have to worry about touching door handles at all. We have sanitizers provided throughout the building. We also have thermometers available that are no-touch thermometers. If you're just not sure, if you haven't assessed your health at home before you've come and would like to make sure that you're not at risk, we'll have you stepped over to the side where the safety room is, and we have people there that can hold the no-touch thermometer and in a space of about 3 seconds determine whether or not your temperature is where it needs to be. We will suspend handing out paper bulletins for the time being. The refreshments that we usually provide will not be available, so grab your coffee before you come, bring the snack for the kids with you. In addition to that, we'll have a couple of communion stations when you come in. One will be in the front lobby. The other will be back by our baptistry for the entrance there. As you come in, some of our elders will be there at the communion station with gloved hands. They will put the communion cup and bread in your hand so that we don't have cross-contamination of hands on the plates with that. Also, a joy box will be there for you to drop your contribution in, either coming in or if you're not ready, on your way out, you can drop it in there at that time. The kids program at MCC has temporarily been suspended until future notice, because there's just no way to keep 2s and 3-year-olds from, playing and getting in each other's faces. In addition to that, we've done a rigorous cleaning, as we always have done. MCC is a clean place, but we've made sure to pay extra attention to wiping down surfaces that have common touch areas. So with all of those reasons, I think, MCC should be a safe place.
Also, at Foundation Kids program, they aren't going to be having, they'll be suspended. But the kids will be sitting with the parents, and there's going to be tables set up and they can do activities during the service. The kids will be taken care of.
The children will be on a table. It'll just be that family's children. We won't have like 2 or 3 different families of children at one table. Again, that's just to try to make sure that we keep the potential virus isolated if someone would have something. Okay, so the next question, we're actually going to do 3 quickies together. First one's, how can I be sure that coming back to church won't spread the virus? How will we handle people that refuse to comply with our guidelines? And are you going to make me wear a mask and gloves?
Based on everything we know, we're following the best protocols that we know that are out there. We've done a lot of research on the topic, and so we think we've done a very good job following those protocols, both from national level, state level, and some other churches that have kind of gathered together some of their best practices as well. So we're using all of that information to kind of inform how we deal with that. We're really confident that we've communicated our expectations, and that folks at MCC are going to demonstrate respectful behavior toward each other. So we don't have any doubts about that. Are we going to make people wear masks and gloves? No, they're not required. They're not required by national or state laws. We've checked with our Ohio Department of Health and our local Department of Health, and that is not required. But we're encouraging people to take responsibility for their own protective measures. Check yourself as far as your health, as well as if you want to wear a mask and gloves, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, the next question is, what about a designated high-risk room for the most vulnerable?
I think at this time, I feel like we've taken enough precautions and measures to adequately provide, for all of that.
Certainly if someone feels at risk, that we've got 4 separate areas that you can sit in, so we'll try to oblige any type of needs if you're concerned. We're doing 2 services for a real good reason. If you really want to get back to church, we want to do that in the safest way possible. But if you're really still concerned and would rather stay at home, we're going to keep doing the online church, and either response is fine. We don't want anybody to feel pressured. Okay, the next question is, what if I'm scheduled to serve as a volunteer, but I'm not comfortable doing so yet? And I'll go ahead and answer that one. If you really, first of all, if you're not feeling well, obviously you shouldn't be coming anyway, but also if you're just not comfortable with serving, just talk to your ministry leader and ask them if you could get someone to fill in for you. Again, we really want people to feel confident and comfortable in attending the service. So if you have any hesitancy whatsoever, again, that's what the online church is going to be for. What will we do about our Sunday children's program or nursery, VBS summer camp? What about the small group studies for men, women, teens, and parent groups? And will we offer a Sunday morning Bible class when we reopen church?
We plan to resume nursery and children's programming as soon as it's prudent to do so. It's suspended for the intermediate time, but once we feel safe to do it, we will resume that programming. Small groups, many small groups have continued to meet and are starting to meet again, taking care to observe best practices and social distancing. And we're also leveraging the Zoom tool to accommodate people that are meeting remotely. And the Bible class will be part of church when we start back again for the adults. There won't be anything specifically geared for kids programming, but kids are welcome in the CLC to be part of our adult Bible study that'll happen at 9 a.m. As soon as it's prudent, we will resume Sunday school for children as well.
This summer, Beeson Ministries is going to be putting on a virtual camp. A lot of planning going on with that, and there'll be some great activities. If you go to beesonministries.com, there's going to be a lot of information on that. They are having a one-time get-together on site in Bowling Green. And again, that'll be practicing safe distancing, but they're really hoping to reach out virtually to maybe even more kids than they ever have before, taking advantage of the situation that we're in, and bringing the gospel message to as many people as want to log on, because it will be free. So a lot of advantages, a lot of great things happening through Beeson Ministries. So check it out at beesonministries.com.
What kind of shape are MCC's finances in after being shut down? What if someone claims they were infected while attending MCC? Are we covered from an insurance standpoint? And will we notify the church if someone tests positive for the virus?
After talking with our treasurer, Jeff Hobbs, he's assured us that God, in fact, has been very gracious to us, and our people have been very generous. We're probably bringing in about 30% plus of our weekly offerings online. We appreciate those of you that have signed up to do that, so that we have some regularity and continuity there. Certainly we're not exceeding our budget, but we're at least close enough that our pad in our finances is close to being the same now that it was before the shutdown actually occurred. Our overall balance at this time, honestly, is just pretty healthy, and we're grateful to God for that. Should someone decide to take advantage of the situation and file a lawsuit claiming that they were infected while visiting MCC, our insurance provider has reassured us that as long as we're practicing the policies and the protocol that we've already described to this point in time, we are fully covered and fully insured, so we won't have to worry about that. Additionally to that, if someone does test positive, then I'm not really sure how we would go about trying to prove or trace that they were infected here, but we'll certainly do the best thing that we would determine that Jesus would have us to do at that point in time.
Okay, the next couple of questions that kind of go together. What about a drive-in service as an alternative? And then, not the drive-in service, but just for our normal service, do our cars need space in the parking lot?
We feel that drive-in service be more of a novelty, kind of feel like we'd like to put our efforts more towards in-house service, stuff like that. It says here, do we need spaces in the parking lot or be spaced in the parking lot? There's no current official guidelines even recommending that, so I would just assume that we just park wherever there's a space.
Okay, the next question is, what will be done if we exceed seating capacity during the service? And when Ed talked about the various areas that we've got for seating, we've got quite a bit of capacity amongst the four places. although I'd love it if somehow we'd have such a tremendous attendance that we would exceed it, it seems pretty doubtful that even on a typical Sunday, we've got things pretty well covered. So would not anticipate us exceeding capacity, but if for some reason we will, make some kind of arrangements just to make sure that we don't encroach on those spaces so that people feel uncomfortable.
Well, John, let me also add on to that we do have some overflow areas throughout the facility here that will have TV screens and audio piped in there. So we'll be able to keep spread out and respect social distances.
Okay, for our last question for the night, what about baptisms? Do we have to take any special precautions in case of someone's baptized?
Well, John, one of the things that we'll do typically after every baptism anyway is that we go ahead and drain our baptistry and then fill it up with fresh water to begin with. So that should take care of anything there. I'm sure that we'll probably disinfect before filling with fresh water again. Bottom line, I'm the one willing to take that risk because we believe that strongly about uniting people with Christ in baptism, and we certainly wouldn't want to miss an opportunity to do just that.
So just as in any other family, we don't always share the same opinions on the medical and political implications of COVID-19. But we do share something way more important, and that is our faith in Christ as brothers and sisters. So we need to remember to demonstrate love, grace, and peace. This is the most important thing. The things that will last for eternity, COVID-19 will not. But love and grace and peace and hope will.